Okay, and action! I said action! I know, but I can't go on without applause. There's no one here but me. Yay, London! Yeah, woo! London! All right. Please stop. You're embarrassing me.
The 2000s were a completely different landscape when it came to technology. As teens, not a lot of us had cell phones, or were just getting them and getting used to them. The radio still existed, MTV was still around, it was just so jarring, especially compared to now, where at the touch of a button we could contact anybody we know on FaceTime, and AI is a new thing, CGI movies have just been a commonplace. I just can't believe how much has changed. So today I'm gonna dive into the episodes that were a little bit ahead of their time in tween TV. I'm talking about TeenNick and Disney Channel. So let's jump into some of the outdated technology episodes of TV and start seeing what they predicted. What's up everybody, it's Johnny 2000, focusing on 2000s movies, media, and so much more. We're gonna start today off with CGI and prosthetics, makeup that we now use seamlessly in movies were just not the same back then, especially when it came to Drake and Josh. One episode in particular, Alien Invasion, doesn't hold up. Season 3, episode 16, Alien Invasion. So Megan got a new telescope. She's using Josh's laptop and Drake's leather jacket without their permission and like studying aliens.
Is that my new leather jacket?
Maybe.
Megan?
Well, I'm not putting my brand new telescope on the grass.
Drake and Josh get in trouble when Megan pretends like she got pushed down by them, and it's just so funny.
Just out here trying to learn about space, and Drake and Josh pushed me down.
They end up hatching a plan to actually turn the tables and prank Megan back because they're just so tired of her taking advantage of them.
Let me write that down. Freeze her. Didn't really write that down. No!
First, they insert fake images of aliens onto the laptop screen, and Megan falls for the prank. And she's actually scared, and I've never seen Megan react so scared like this. It's kind of crazy. Then, of course, something bad has to happen to Josh, with Walter throwing out the trash while they're hidden in there. Of course, Drake doesn't get it. Drake and Josh then get Eric to adjust the electric switches in the kitchen to control the technology inside. And if I were Eric, I would never talk to these guys again. Like, just last episode, Papa Nichols assaulted you. Why are you helping?
Here's the remote.
Awesome. Well, you should probably be getting on home, huh?
You know, sometimes I feel you just use me.
Then they frighten Megan by making her think that the aliens are interfering with the electricity. Drake and Josh try to continue to prove that aliens are invading.
No such thing as aliens.
There are two. I saw them, and I heard them. And now they're coming. The aliens are coming. Aliens!
And when Megan is left alone one night, Drake and Josh actually get fully prosthetically made up to look like aliens, which is so intense. Once they actually scare Megan, Drake and Josh celebrate. Until real aliens, quote unquote, show up. They get freaked out and run away. Until we learn that they're actually Megan's friends dressed up as aliens.
Nice job, Danny.
Sure thing, Megan.
And she's just paying them back for what they did, which is so crazy. I don't even remember how she picked up on their prank. Then later, Megan's making coffee for the alien in the kitchen, and when Walter sees him, he's like freaking out and jumps out the window, which is kind of dramatic for no reason. The fact that Megan pulled a prank on the boys by involving someone dressed up as an alien to scare them is just such a funny concept. Drake and Josh's particular use of the ham radio was technically illegal. Like in the United States, a ham radio operator must have a license to channels on certain frequencies, and on top of that, all outgoing transmissions will require the operator to identify themselves using a designated call sign.
Zeep.
Zeef.
Come on, do it with me.
The episode shares similarities with the 90s sitcom Step by Step titled Get Organized, in which the sisters Dana and Karen trick their stepbrother and step-cousin that a UFO is coming to Earth. This is one of the episodes where Eric appears without Craig, not counting Eric's appearance in Mindy Loves Josh, or the background fighting during the pilot. The DVD version has missing scenes that are cut from the TV version, including Josh telling Drake, "Please don't breathe in my ear," the scene after Megan and Walter wash dishes.
No way.
Really?
Swear, it was an alien spaceship, no doubt about it.
Well, that is incredible. Astonishing.
The person dressed in and wearing the Danny alien costume is never identified or revealed, which is kind of weird. In the next example, we have Hannah Montana, where she actually predicted what podcasting would be like. So Miley Hurt the Feelings of a Radio Star is a parody on the title Video Killed the Radio Star, which is an old song about how the implementation of visual media took away all this audio-only world, which is a really interesting timepiece.
Oh, see, that's great and awesome. Grawsome. Starting a new trad. Oh, see, that's trend and fad. Trad.
So Oliver starts his own radio show when one of the radio hosts on Radio Star has to leave one day.
10 seconds. Let's see what you got, wing ding 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 boy.
But I don't know how to work the mic. I don't even know what to press.
You'll do great.
He's at first really awkward and cringy, but Miley soon helps him out, and bam, the radio show becomes super popular.
If you're in a stew or feeling blue, don't boo-hoo. Let us talk to you.
Because that's what we do.
Here at the KT Morning Zoo.
And the two have like such a good dynamic, and this is going great for Oliver. He hasn't had a lot of wins, which is not surprising. And later, Hannah actually has a concert, but traffic is so packed up. And then another time, Hannah has a pet audition to do. So essentially, Miley's trying to keep up with this new task of hosting a radio show, but cannot keep up with it because of Hannah Montana responsibilities.
Breaks like this don't just happen. I mean, this could change my whole life.
Well,
Please.
She even falls asleep in front of all the puppies as she's getting cranky, and it's really funny watching Robbie and Lily kind of point out how bad she's going through it.
Don't you even bother calling. Do not call this phone. This dog is mine. Mine, mine, mine.
But Miley just wants to support Oliver. Like, clearly he can't do it on his own, and you know how Oliver gets when he feels unsuccessful. He gets depressed and leaves. The next day, the newspaper says Hannah howls, and Miley is completely embarrassed for how she was during the puppy thing. She is completely overbooked, and she's actually seeing the consequence of it.
Spread my butter way too thin, and now my toast is dry. Yep, not enough to go around. Way too...
I get it.
Even I get it.
You do?
Yeah. Your dad doesn't have enough butter, duh.
Oliver says that they want to do the radio show every Sunday and that it means so much to him. So this is why Miley is going to be going through a lot now, because she really wants to see her friend happy. But in the end, Oliver says that the radio show didn't have a lot of Miley fans as much as Oliver fans, which is kind of hard to believe from my end. So it seems like he could still do it without her. And I don't know, this is a weird ending.
Howdy, everybody. That was me, Miley, pretending to be a pretty girl named Lily.
And in the subplot, Rico thinks that he's making too much money because his dad actually wants to sell Rico's surf shop.
I have to lose money.
So lose money.
I can't. It goes against every fiber of my being.
So Rico puts Jackson in charge because he knows he'll screw up. And he does so by selling rotten hamburgers, and his customers all end up throwing up. This is a really disgusting plot line.
My burger tastes funny.
Brilliant! Bad meats! No one's gonna want to buy this place now. Congratulations. Listen, Jackson, you're never gonna get the best of me.
I definitely think Radio Star is a parody of Radio Disney. It is nice to have another Oliver episode with Hannah trying to keep her cool in order to maintain his emotional regularity, which is kind of random. Like, I don't know why Oliver is such a toxic friend. I mean, it's hard to be comedic relief and also really responsible, I guess. But I like that a lot of the episode takes place in the radio booth, and seeing Oliver, like, have this hobby is really cool. All in all, this is a really fun episode. And next, of course, Victorious came a little bit later, so it's really good at predicting online social media and basically all the challenges we do and how we socialize with people. So the slap fight is actually a really interesting episode because it's all the characters trying to prove to one another that they can gain more followers. And this is like the most socially relevant episode, I feel like. This episode was definitely what we were going through at the time. I audibly laughed out loud from some of the stuff in this episode because it goes so off its rockers. Like, it starts out with a short film from St. John, and it is trippy as heck. It reminds me of all current filmmaking.
Soda. Yes. Wet moisture.
Tori learns that Trina has more followers than everybody, and this is a huge concern because it's Trina, and I guess they just love to bully her. Obviously nobody believes it, but they're like, I definitely have to get more. And so Tori is setting out to finally get the most followers, and she's willing to do anything.
Follow me!
And honestly, this episode just makes me see the worst sides of our main character. I mean, I don't even know if this is admirable at all. They each keep ditching any group activities to go off individually and try to get more followers. And it just really shows how desperate people are to be followed by other people. So every character does something different to try to get the attention of all the other followers. Like for example, Beck uses his sex appeal, which is kind of random. Like he's washing cars and putting pics up on the internet of that, and it's really depressing watching everybody have to like disconnect in order to get more followers. Sinjin is really funny in this episode because he's just constantly bothering Tori, but I don't know if it's like appropriate. Robbie keeps hosting contests like, hey, take my shoe, or like take this, and all around this is happening while they have to turn in a short film like Sinjin did. But hey, there's more important things in life, like who you're following on social media. Jade uses threats by going to everybody in the school telling them to follow her.
You're scaring people into following you?
I'm gently suggesting that they follow me. Hey! Do you follow me on the Slack? Follow me!
And she does not have any morals because she is just insane. Kat is taking an interesting approach. She's trying to tweet 1,000 times a day, which include every single thought she ever has. And it's so funny to see her like just be rude to people and outward about it. Meanwhile, Andre, who is the most moralistic character that could possibly be redeemed, is also doing the same thing. They keep talking about the main people in this episode, and that kind of is funny. Like it makes the show meta, talking about how there's main characters and supporting characters. And of course, Sinjin has to come in to help Tori in this episode. They have a whole monitor set up with all her friends, and she's just getting competitive against them, which I kind of find nuts. It's a nice excuse to actually see what they do at home, like Robbie is putting on makeup and trying to get attention.
Would you follow me? I'd follow me.
It's demeaning, and that is 100% what social media is like. Sinjin records Tori trying to go too far by doing the drinking milk challenge, and what challenge is that? I just like that she actually is willing to go so far until she's actually spitting it out, and I'm like, this is gross. I want to turn the page on this episode. Later, everybody starts turning on each other one by one and just fighting and fighting until we learn that Sinjin is the one who rigged Trina's followers. And yeah, so Trina never really had 900 followers. It's just Sinjin helping her hack it. There's a quick moment where everybody seems to reflect on how bad of characters they are. Like Sinjin is like, you guys make me sick. You're all good looking and popular and you just care about followers. Okay. True. We never address it like that, but that's so true. Meanwhile, they finally get their short film done by coming together, and it is a really, really awkward piece of trash.
That's him! That's him right there!
Mr. Bowman, you're under arrest for the murders of some people.
What's happening? What's happening?
Now you're all gonna be murdered.
Yeah, they're wearing like special outfits. It's like a dinner party, but also a murder mystery, and no plot actually happens except for this insinuation that the murderer has a violin. Kind of crazy, and it ends up being the worst thing ever, but honestly super funny to see it go through. And I like that the teacher acknowledges that it's like a bad short film. At least we're actually not pretending here. I hate when like on iCarly, they do random stuff and they're like, everybody thinks this is hilarious. It's like, no, I don't know. I think it's just being weird and you think that that's enough. All around, like a really funny episode to get involved in. Next in True Jackson VP, we're gonna see what it's like to have a content creator get a lot of money at a really young age and how they pretty much abuse using it. Keeping tabs, and it is another workplace complicated episode, but it more focuses on True's immaturity about what it's like to work in a corporate office like this. Kind of sweet. They go out to like an executive lunch, and Amanda kind of shows her what it's like to have money from the company.
Put it on your card. What? The only card I have is my library card, and I can't even use it because I still haven't returned everybody poop.
She gets her own credit card, and this is actually done in a lot of teen shows where it's like you test the main character by seeing how much they want to spend and like giving them money, and then they ruin it. At first, like, it's kind of a big shock, and then of course True starts getting really excited about it. They start buying so many different things. Ryan, Lulu, all these things that they do not need. They go out to eat all the time, and True tries not to take advantage of it, but of course she gets way too into it. Eventually, True learns that the company accountant has been looking for her. Uh-oh.
Well, the last person that got caught doing that lost his job.
Aww.
And went to prison.
My Sweet 16 is next year. I can't spend in the slammer.
Now she realizes that all of her business expenses are actually not good, and she's probably gonna get fired for it. They see this woman, her name is Mrs. Pinchbinder, which is, wow, that's not even like creative, that's so on the nose. And she's been looking for True all day, so True has to just constantly avoid this woman while also trying to return everything she bought until she learns you can't return the meals because she ate them all. Oh my gosh. So they try to do whatever it takes to earn the money and be able to pay it back, like selling all of their furniture, but that doesn't work either. So then they sell Max Madigan's furniture because they think that they'll be able to, but turns out his furniture is rented.
It was one
So it just keeps getting worse and worse. They think they solved the problem, but then they get more financially screwed until True finally decides it's time to come in clean and go right to Miss Pinchbinder front and center, which is actually a good testament to True's character. I feel like she's really good in these situations, especially since it's a corporate situation. Like, you don't need to be that cautious. So she meets with this woman who tells her that she's not fired, she's not going to prison, which, yeah, wait, I actually didn't realize the stakes could have been that high. Turns out they'll just take a little bit out of her paycheck every week, which actually is pretty logical. And then they call Miss Cantwell in, and apparently she overspends as well, which is a great ending to an episode. And then this little horse from Lulu's bedroom keeps showing up at the office. Really doesn't have to do with it this time. I don't know how to defend this at all. Zoey 101 actually had a Peep episode talking about how webcams worked, which is insane. This is where it gets really weird. It's called Webcam. So we start with the girls playing Truth or Dare, like some variation of it, like Mess or Stress or something. And we see Chase and Logan delivering sushi. When did either of them start working there? Apparently Logan is training Chase, but I don't remember Logan ever working somewhere. And how does Chase have the time to do a play, like write a full show, and work at this sushi place? This becomes a staple for later in the series. One of the kids Chase delivers to has a goat. And don't they do that on iCarly? Don't they reference a goat a lot? So Logan tries to apologize to the girls, saying he wants to accept them and everything, and he gifts them with like this really big teddy bear, and everybody's like, oh, Logan, that's actually really nice, although it is out of character. We find out that Nicole makes a chart of guys' lips and acts like that's a secret, but she's so obsessed with guys, I don't know why that's a secret. And Zoey is dared to prank call a teacher saying he ordered 9,000 bottles of mustard, which, oh my gosh, guys.
Yes, sir. You ordered 9,000 jars of mustard.
What? Who could eat that much mustard?
And meanwhile, Quinn likes to eat baby food, which definitely should be a secret, and she keeps eating it constantly throughout the episode, which, if it never comes back again, what's the point?
Put down the baby food and focus.
So then a bunch of boys walk by Nicole and kind of make fun of her, saying like, oh, aren't our lips cute? And how do they know that she had that list? Immediately they think that Dana told, because obviously she is the sour character.
You're it. 10 minutes early. No bapsas.
This is our first appearance of Sushi Rocks, which is cool because it definitely is a staple of the Zoey 101 series. Logan apparently keeps calling in sick, so Chase has to deliver everything. Which I think that would be a lot of money, Chase. I think Logan's doing you a favor here. So Zoey calls in a meeting, and we learn that there is a webcam in the teddy bears. So another peeping episode. They did this in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is kind of crazy. Quinn is able to find that there is a webcam. That's like borderline like illegal.
That bear is broadcasting both audio and visual transmissions via broadband wavelengths to a remote digital receiver. I knew it!
And the fact that this is on a TeenNick show is crazier. So Zoey confronts Chase, who doesn't actually know what's going on with this webcam. You know, he's been delivering sushi quite some time now. She assumes it's Logan, and they actually go into his computer, which I don't know how he has zero security.
He's been dumping all his deliveries on me so he can sit here and spy on you guys.
What a freak.
Oh, hey, there's Quinn.
Did she just eat a leaf?
Quinn eats a leaf on a fake plant. This character is so weird. They end up finding out that it's true, there's a webcam pointed at the girls, and for some reason, it's able to do like a triple camera setup and zooms in on everything perfectly. I don't know how that works. So Zoe's like, okay, I have a plan, and we don't get to hear it as the audience.
See? Nicole, right. I'll get another one.
Which is a common trope that's used multiple times over this series. We're kind of thrown into it. Michael and Logan are looking through the webcam and they notice that Chase is giving away sushi for free. But the sushi's boss can't read the cue cards, which is kind of funny. Like, the staging of it is so cheesy. And when his boss catches Chase, he basically threatens to send him to jail. So Logan and Michael are like, whoa, this is terrible.
That's why we have to get rid of him. Get rid of him? This is insane. He didn't see you hit it.
Right. We'll blame it all on Logan. Yes, Logan.
Me?
Until Chase blames it on Logan, who grabs the dean from the shower and has to explain that he was not responsible for this. And I don't know how Logan gets into the dean's shower. This is, like, ridiculous. Logan then admits to everyone that he had a webcam and that's how he caught them. And he admits that he was fake sick and gets fired. And there's a Donald Trump reference, which is really weird.
You're fired! I feel like Donald Trump.
I can't believe we didn't see that at the time. Yeah, overall this episode is definitely creepy. It takes the peeping storyline a little further than the Sweet Life did, which I actually kind of like. I definitely think this would be a recurring issue if there was a boys and girls dormitory. So I like that they're touching upon a topic that might be a little bit more dense than Nickelodeon is used to. Something that we would never see today. And this is a really unique storyline. I like this. Next, we jump back to the old phone lines and TV, where Raven actually takes calls on live television. Psychics Wanted, Season 1, Episode 17. And this one really excited me. Unlike the first one, where Raven found out that there's a bunch of other people in the school that also have psychic abilities, this one is also about psychic abilities, building on the lore. So there's this scam company, essentially, that has a TV show, and they take in calls, and it's a fortune teller saying exactly how their future will go. That's just a little bit of context. The episode's really about Raven wanting money, and her parents are not going to give it to her because obviously she only uses it for shopping. That's all she cares about. Another teen stereotype. And she has a crush on this little jazz musician at the school, which it seems like irrelevant, but that'll come up later. So in order to get this money, she follows the ad to Psychics Wanted and sees this TV show being produced. And she kind of admits to the business guy, hey, like, I'm a psychic too. And he's like, well, aren't we all? And they learn that it is just a scam, essentially. Like, nobody there is psychic. So Raven didn't technically reveal her information. And then we get to the same conversation of there's not a lot of consequences to Raven when she admits that she's psychic. Like, I feel like people don't really make her life not normal. Like, it never really seems to be that huge of a deal. Like, even in this, like, they just kind of throw it out and she's just like, yeah, I'm a psychic. So I wasn't expecting that at all. But yeah, so she ends up being on the phone lines and she just says to people like, I had a vision last night, and learns like the scam of it all. Then Eddie and Chelsea even get roped into this. They want money too, and all three of them become like pretty good at it. Eventually, the fortune teller that's like the head of this wants a raise, doesn't get it, so they ask Raven to step up and be the fortune teller, which is kind of crazy because they don't realize technically that makes it not a scam anymore. So Raven gets a call from the jazz kid at school and he's like, oh, how do I get in to my college? And she's like, I have a vision. You have to ask out Raven Baxter. And he's like, oh, okay. He shows up to Raven's house and has a girlfriend already. Oh my gosh. I can't believe Raven didn't even fact check that. So that's the issue with Raven having a crush on all these guys, wanting to go out with them, and then finding out later that they had a boyfriend. It's hard because I get it, you know? Like, you're a passionate person. You love somebody. But love at first sight is not real. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so they show up. Raven's super disappointed, and I kind of feel bad for him because she manipulated him. He ends up calling again the next day. Turns out he didn't get in, so Raven's vision was wrong. What? And it's like, how did she have a vision that this guy did or did not get into the college he wanted? Like, she was not there to physically see it, so why would it be in the vision? I don't know. Anyway, in the end, she exposes this whole thing as a scam on live television when the other fortune teller comes back. And it's kind of sweet because Raven and the fortune teller end up bonding, and even though it's not like technically real, it's still sweet to see her get along with an adult, I guess. Then we have iCarly, where they explain how canceling works with Nevel Papperman. This next episode holds the test of time way better than anyone I've seen compared to like the iCarly universe. It's called iPity the Nevel, episode 8. It starts with iCarly super excited and successful once again. Spencer introduces this little plastic gun he has and somehow catches it on fire.
The perfect Christmas gift.
This is one of the funniest times I feel like Spencer has this fire issue where things just keep catching flames. I wish they did this more in the reboot. But yeah, so Sam comes running in saying that there's a video with Nevel all over the internet. Oh my gosh. And it's a horrible video ruining his reputation where he screams at a little girl for literally no reason. Honestly, this character of Nevel is so funny and I appreciate him so much more growing up because he's making fun of like all the anti-YouTubers like Shane Dawson or like just like the worst people you would find online. And of course, Carly and Sam just have no empathy for him because he's done so much worse to both of them, like kissing Carly without her consent. Like there's just a little too much going on in the Carly universe. Meanwhile, Freddie releases a short film the girls and him made called Vampire Twiblood, something parodying Twilight. And of course, he plays the vampire, Edward. I can't believe he did this.
Nobody can love me. I'm a monster.
They use all the same locations at her house, which is kind of unrealistic, making this show seem like just straight up ridiculous. They have the floating talking bra in this, and it's even more confusing than you could imagine.
But I can't love you either.
Why?
You're a bra.
And yeah, this is such a weird departure from the main plot. Honestly, like the rest of the episode is better than this 3-minute commercial break for their Twilight. I feel bad for Gibby all the time because he does such ridiculous stuff on the show and is never rewarded for it. Even in the next scene, like they're talking about how they're gonna have a party against Nevel and Gibby wasn't even invited. What the heck, guys? But yeah, the cynical is at its peak when they have an anti-Nevel party with pictures of his face everywhere and, you know, you could throw darts at it. They could draw the devil face on him. Like, this is exactly when the internet got its worst and most toxic. Even the way the kids are talking to each other, like the internet world was not a great place, honestly. And to consider this the cancellation party, where it's like somebody gets canceled and everybody's happy about it, but like nobody really thinks about the other side of the situation, which is, I guess, Nevel, but he doesn't really have another side. Later, we see Nevel walking all on his own, and you kind of feel bad for him, and he's like in the rain, but really it's just like a homeless guy.
This is what you get for screaming at that little girl! Wet!
So he shows up at the iCarly's house only to see that they were throwing a party about his cancellation. What the heck? So yeah, they tie him up only to ask what he's doing here. And by the way, if I were Nevel, I'd be terrified at what was going on around me. Like, they have him on a literal noose in the background. You see that? That is not fair. So he's asking for their sympathy and just for them to be nice to him because he's down on his luck for sure. And Sam decides to pour a drink of soda in a shoe, and if Nevel drinks it, they can help him. Okay, this is bullying to the max. Sam is just a horrible bully sometimes, and I can't believe this. Freddie's getting a lot of extra attention for the Vampire Twiblood short film they did. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, he's just eating it up every chance he gets. Meanwhile, Carly and Sam try to help Nevel look better for the internet and get uncanceled. Very sweet of them that they don't have to do. They just record him giving out smoothies for free and being extra sweet, which is kind of like a chaperone thing. They go to the internet only to find out that nobody believes him. Oh my gosh. I like this though. It's like a redeem him story. Carly, Sam, and Freddie are actually doing something really good here, which has been a long time since we've seen this happen. Like, they were literally working kids in a sweatshop and now they're helping Nevel. So I guess you have to be happy with some of the graces they get. They bring on Nevel one more time to the iCarly show just to give a sincere apology, and we're all hoping that this actually comes out well because we don't want this guy to be embarrassed again. So they bring the little girl he got mad at onto the show and apologizes to her. Oh Aww. Nevel thanks Freddy, and it's kind of sweet until Freddy's like, this means that you won't hurt iCarly again. And he's like, I'll try. What the heck? Yeah, it turns out Nevel didn't learn anything because then he yells at a man in a wheelchair only to have the same exact thing happen again, which I guess the moral of the story is that if you're canceled once, you're gonna be canceled again and can't get better. I mean, I just don't understand the positive message in this one. All around a confusing experience for me because I thought this was gonna be a redeeming story, but it wasn't. It was just a series of tortured events. And can you believe that we didn't even see Nevel come into this until like halfway through the episode? Like the fact that the pacing of the show is completely altered just to meet the comedy beats is meaning that they're actually putting the story as a last priority. And that's where iCarly starts to bother me. Like this is where the cracks start to show when Sam and Freddy start dating and things just get a little too out of character. I claim it to be the writer's issue because clearly they could have like just did the stereotypical storytelling aspect. Next we have The Sweet Life, where they actually introduced the first web show, even before iCarly. Episode 16, Tiptonline, and this is funny. I mean, obviously the Tipton and online combined, it just shows how ignorant we were about new technology in the 2000s, because most of this episode is about London having a web show. So Cody decides to help London make a web show because she only gets 1 million hits online, and her best friend Portia gets 5 because she has a web show. So then they're like, let's start iCarly. No, I'm just kidding. That's a separate show. But you know what I mean. So yeah, Cody is the tech producer like Freddy, and London starts this whole Yay Me podcast. And this is a staple of the original show. Like, I can't believe it came on this late in the series. Like, it's the last 5 episodes, and this is one of the best ideas. So yeah, you understand how really dumb London is. Like, before, earlier in the series, like, she would just be, like, kind of selfish, but now she's just straightforward, like, stupid. Like, everything she says on the show, she doesn't understand a single word Cody's saying. She doesn't understand what he's supposed to do, and she ends up taking advantage of Cody, like, humiliating him online, and the chat is just, like, blowing up the whole time. They actually get pretty successful with it, and we get a lot of really ridiculous references to new media that it looks like they don't know what they're talking about. Like, they're referencing online and being like, shut down the internet! It's like, that's not possible, guys. But I do like that there's a Zack and Cody episode that gets into more of the relevant stuff of our age. Like, that was new at the time, and we were all doing stuff like that. So the fact that they're trying to throw a web show is, like, a really funny idea. When Cody feels underappreciated, London ends up getting her friend to do it and then makes her eat dog treats. It gets, like, worse for her, and she basically has to make a character development moment and actually apologize to Cody. Like, everybody demands to see Cody. One even writes Cody-licious in the comments, and it's like, what? And she offers a formal apology, actually getting to Cody, and he's like, oh, this is so thoughtful. And the episode kind of concludes like that. They both feel appreciated, and London can continue taking advantage of him, pretty much. Like, he's not helpful. Oh, and then there's this side plot of Zack being obsessed with this video game. It's like an online battle game, and he just speaks gibberish to Carrie. Obviously, Carrie doesn't know the technology. I barely know what he's talking about in this episode. And it's funny because it's like, we did start the online gaming culture back then. I don't know if we had like a physical sword that we attached to the computer as much, but we definitely had some aspects of that. Later, Zack actually finds out that the villain he's been fighting in the game is Mr. Mosby. Yeah, Mr. Mosby is an online addict. It's so funny to think that they're both on the internet all the time, apparently, now that they just have laptops. So they end up finding out they're both a part of this group and then go to get help for it, like an AA meeting for people that go online too much. And I can't believe that that's a thing. Like, it's not even a thing now, and we're online way more. All around, Tiptonline is a very, socially relevant episode that I feel holds up pretty well, except for the lingo they use in the episode itself. All around, though, funny times. I definitely noticed Maddie missing more in this episode than usual, which is kind of sad, but you know, we're almost at the end of the series. We just need a couple more with her. Then, of course, we have Ned's Declassified, who actually had an episode specifically about miscommunication through cell phones. But this was like way before they were commonplace, so it's kind of crazy how easily they were able to make these calls. This episode's called Cell Phones. Oh my gosh, see, this is the most topical modern episode that I think we've had thus far, which is kind of cool because this was way long ago. What, like 2008? Like, we were talking about cell phones? Now we're living cell phones.
So that's good. That's very good.
So, are you in class yet?
Class hasn't started yet.
So yeah, Ned puts together a schedule for how him and Susie can talk over the phone, which is so funny. Long distance relationships must have got so much more prominent as social media just like became more advanced. You know, like it's easier to contact people from other states and everything. Like that's a very like relevant to the time experience. Mose gets a new, more advanced phone because she's tired of having this old phone in school, which is so in her character. I don't know why. I feel like Mose would have an Android if this were current time. Like, that's just what she would do. She gets like a 200-minute plan for it, but she doesn't want her cell phone to take over her life, so she kind of limits it for herself. Meanwhile, Cookie wears a jacket with 33 cell phones attached to it in hopes of winning a sports car for this radio contest. And I remember this episode really well for some reason. I just remember like him having these cell phones in class and going overboard with this, which is super funny.
Simon Nelson comes from Polk Middle School.
Awesome. So, you're a teacher then?
No, I'm a student.
Great, but you gotta be 18 to play by.
So Susie calls Ned just as he's walking into science class and keeps getting him in trouble for answering the phone, which I don't know why she gets mad every single time, as if she doesn't understand that you're in school, like you can't just talk on the cell phone willy-nilly, and she takes it as rude and keeps thinking that Ned is hanging up on her all the time. Oh my gosh. And there's a bunch of miscommunications where she thinks Ned is saying like, I want to break up. Inevitably, Susie even hears that he's breaking up with her when really he's just talking about the cell phone reception, and then his phone is taken away. Oh my god, I got so much major anxiety when I'm like even experiencing this. This is so real. See, this is one of the things where it's like parents nowadays would never get this. That's how they're left out. Oh, and then Mose puts Feynman's number as her #1 speed dial. You know, uses this to kind of define herself, which is, for real, like, I definitely feel like I was doing that at this age. Like, who was your first contact? And hers wants to be Feynman, but Martin puts his name in her phone and then starts talking to her on the phone by accident. And then she doesn't notice that they have a phone call, and he starts talking to her without stopping talking, which is so funny, and then uses up all her minutes, which he should have class. I don't know why this doesn't actually affect him in any way. Ned gets his phone back from Sweeney, and Cookie calls him from the bathroom asking Ned to bring him a cushion and some snacks. So Ned goes to Cookie and asks for one of his phones, which is obvious, and he refuses, so Ned just takes one of them. They fight over it, and then they end up in Sweeney's classroom.
They're a nuisance and only should be used for emergencies. But this is an emergency.
So it's like all these trouble with phones throughout this entire thing. It's so funny. Ned then gets Mose to help him and Cookie break into Sweeney's room and get back all the cell phones. Ooh, a little heist movie. Wow, see what I'm saying when I say like all these episodes go to like 50 places? This feels like a 2-hour movie. The announcer tells them that he has to be 18 or older to play when he wins the car. And oh, poor Cookie. Sweeney manages to get him in and tells him that they'll decide their punishment later. After Mose gets her phone back, she only has 3 minutes left. And, you know, since Ned's having an emergency, she gives it to him, which is actually really sweet. Another reason she's the one to be with. But her phone battery dies right before Ned can like fully explain himself, and Susie is just like, okay, we're over. And that's kind of how the episode ends.
One last cell phone tip. Charge up every night, because you never want a dead battery during an emergency.
Turns out Sweeney wins the whole competition and drives off with the prize car, which is actually so funny. Come on, that's so rude. I wish he would at least like give Cookie some credit. The tips in this one are never look at your phone when you should be looking at someone else. Okay, fair. Because you never want a cell phone breakdown during an emergency, which, whew, these tips are actually pretty relevant. I can't believe they came up with this.
Next, we have the Naked Brothers Band, and, you know, reality television was just so different, so I wanted to talk about their first episode and them being on a Video Music Award show. The first episode takes place after the movie. The first episode's called the VMAs, the Video Music Awards, and this is a pretty interesting episode. It makes me think that they are actually a real band. The Big Time Rush vibes are super strong though, because it feels like that entire show without any of the sound effects, which is kind of a good thing. We start with Nat and Alex waking up in the morning. Their apartment is actually really 2000s. Like, look at all this furniture. There's no way you can get away with that much neon. They're listening to themselves on the radio, which is kind of pretentious when you think about it, and get really superstitious about, you know, making sure the quote ends on a positive affirmation, like something good about the VMAs. Funny argument to have between two brothers at this age. I feel like that can't be a real conversation, but they fight a lot, which makes it actually real. And then Nat acknowledges the cameras.
Oh, look, it's the cameras! Oh, they're here!
So everything is very meta, very fourth wall breaking. Literally, Alex tries to hide from it. We meet the dad as he comes down for breakfast, and he is just obnoxious in front of the camera.
Hi, I'm just playing my accordion, don't mind me.
Like, he is a completely different person. Apparently, this guy is a jazz musician in real life, along with being their actual father. The mom is not in the picture, we don't really talk about it, but if you look at the credits, you'll know that Polly Draper is actually the showrunner, the writer, everything about this show kind of has to do with her. So she's in charge of everything, it feels like. Very home movie style. We get to see all of his bandmates for the first time since the movie, and everybody looks as mature as 9-year-olds can look. Like, it looks like time has passed and they're taking themselves seriously.
All right, you can't be late. This is the most important day of my life. You have to be there 5 sharp.
Which is so funny for, like, this fake small band. And the fact that these kids take it so seriously, like, as if they're just a part of the adult world now that they're in a band, I don't know, it just seems ridiculous, especially since they're playing basketball in their apartment. But it's got a very New York vibe to it. It's something I could say that Big Time Rush never really had. There's a babysitter named Jessie in their corner, and that's one of the main characters of the show. She follows Nat and Alex, kind of gives them advice every now and then, but more so Alex just keeps hitting on her.
You took a ride with a strange man?
It was free.
Free? I don't think so. Not with a guy named George.
Oh.
Throughout this entire show, it's gonna get really exhausting, especially since this girl is actually his cousin in real life. Yeah, there's some wacky things about this show, but hey, let's keep going. The plot becomes a lot more about astrology as Jessie gives everybody their horoscopes, and Alex's is that he could get into big trouble if he doesn't avoid being in vehicles or something. I don't know, something really specific.
Stay away from motor vehicles and falling objects.
And Nat's is that everything is going to go downhill if he's not perfect or something like that. I don't know. The point is, they have a lot of high expectations in this episode. We kind of get the idea of the pressure that the VMAs holds when everybody gathers around the living room to watch the interviews. And this really obnoxious MC is hosting the whole thing. And he seems like he just has it out for the kids, which is kind of crazy because they're literally children. There's a quick update like 7 hours before the award ceremony, 8 hours before the award ceremony, and it's more so just how everybody's psychologically dealing with the fact that they're gonna have to go to a ceremony. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of plot. Then Rosalina enters the picture and Nat is a bumbling fool. But hey, at least we have a love interest. That's something to make this actually consistent. Oh my god, the TV is so 2000s. It looks like an iMac. Eventually they have to get to the VMAs, but Alex doesn't want to get in a moving vehicle, so they take this giant bicycle that sits 6 people, which earlier in the episode, Jessie had this guy following her around saying like, use my bicycles, which I think happens in New York, but yeah, it's just really awkward, and she doesn't know how to reject him, so he keeps like bothering her, and that's how they end up getting the bikes in this part. So I don't know if she's a good babysitter or what's going on. And yeah, they have a lot of famous people in the shots for the VMAs. I wonder where they actually got this footage. And Nat has like a little speech about how he was so nervous today and that they're not gonna let anything stop them. And the guy Cooper, their business partner, who kind of looks like a mini Marshall from Sonny with a Chance, yeah, he flips the MC onto the floor, which is supposed to be the end of the arc. I don't know, it just seems like physical violence to me, but hey, that's how Nickelodeon does things sometimes. It's just how they are. It ends with a 3-minute music video. Oh my gosh, I guess they just had to fit 23 minutes into a plot and they could only fit 20 because it's just them on the New York City skyline, which they could have just used this for commercial breaks in between the episodes, but hey, I'm not telling them how to fill time. But yeah, it's really cute. It's funny how they all take themselves so seriously, and the world does as well. It makes for like the kids' imagination to really run wild to see what you could do with such a feat. And I thought this was very inspirational at the time when I saw it, because I mean, YouTube was just barely going on, so like to think that kids could be famous was very new of a concept and really didn't settle in that much. It's definitely written very sensitively. Like you could tell that the mom, Polly Draper, really wanted her kids to understand these things about growing up or masculinity, because a lot of it references what it's like to grow up, to have a crush, to deal with all this pressure and yet somehow be a boy band in a documentary. I don't know, there's a lot to juggle here. Now this next one is pretty outdated, but the idea of being sent to a different country to do brand influencing of sorts, that's kind of what happens to Sonny and Tawny.
Sonny, get your goat. So this one is really interesting. It starts with the check it out girls returning. Like, the popular girls from season 1 that are just kind of obnoxious when they're checking out grocery people. So Nico's in this one to make it barely unique from the other sketches. And Marshall tells them that in Glendovia, they really love the Check It Out girls, so they want to send them all the way to that country to perform. Which is kind of crazy because this entire episode is about a feud between Sonny and Tawny, which you'll see how it affects it. We don't know exactly why they're fighting, we're just revealed that they're supposed to work together and they're in an argument. I like that they end the cold open with them in a conflict right before they go to the theme song. It definitely keeps me interested. We get some classic Sonny and Tawny bad roommate energy as like they're just completely fighting, and to get Sonny to fight Tawny back is a lot of work because she's usually a pretty bright, bubbly person, so the fact that she's angry is even furthering the plot. So they hop in the limo and are about to go out to Europe, and Marshall's surprised when he's in the lunchroom and finds Sonny there. Yeah, it turns out she was pushed out of the vehicle and not going on the trip, so she's going alone. Of course, Marshall's concerned about this because they wanted the Check It Out girls, not the Check It Out girl. Since this is all part of a Glendovian exchange program, it turns out the studio gets a guy named Dinka, who is this guy with a fake mustache and a blazer?
This is Dinka!
Meet you please, nice. That apparently has more game than Nico and Grady, hitting on the girls in the lunchroom as if he can do any better, because he's a nerd, you know, like, they're all nerds, and so when they see him actually score this girl's number, it's super funny. And since this guy's Glendovian, he of course recognizes the Checkout girls, so him and Demi get along really quickly, with them all singing together. While Tawny is getting comfortable in Glendovia, which is not super comfortable, it's like a third world country with not a lot of resources, and she's just put in this, I don't know, like ancient home with a goat. It's just crazy how much over the top they get when they say they're going to other countries. Thank God this is a made up one. Of course, Dinka gets to trash Tawny with Sonny, which is funny because clearly the cultural barriers have come a long way for those two. At first, we think Chad Dillon Cooper doesn't have anything to do with this until we see that he's on all the Glendovian TV channels promoting this goat milk, which is so funny.
Hi, I'm America's Chad Dillon Cooper. Do you ever wish your goat's horns were as white as my teeth? There's nothing I like better than a nice thick glass of Grandma Minka's old-timey potato juice. That's spectacular.
Like to think that they praise him too. Like there must be something about American media that these guys love. Sonny and Tawny's relationship is still strained, with Dinka pretty much taking up his place as another Check It Out girl.
We're the friends who best with truths of worst. I'm checking out guy and I'm checking out for me. Check me out.
Which is so funny to see them getting along. I mean, they don't really do the sketch super well, so that's kind of a sad point. But yeah, meanwhile, Tawny is being attacked by a goat, and both of them get on the phone expecting one another to apologize. A constant with these two. It's a battle of pride and wit with both of them. They have a genuine moment of sadness, thinking that they were replaced in each other's lives, which I can't tell is a measure of their friendship or just their egos. It doesn't seem like they care about getting together again. It just seems like they're both mad. So Sonny ends up going all the way to Glendovia to find Tawny leaving. Yeah, it's not as pretty as it's cracked up to be, is it, Sonny?
Oh, great! You broke the car!
Nico and Grady try to take on the persona of Dinka to try to score girls, assuming it's like the new trend in how to get women, and of course it's not. They're so awkward with it. So once Sonny and Tawny are reunited in this new country, they go to their Check It Out girls grocery store as this exchange program. Turns out they just want them to be actual checkout cashiers, which I was not expecting. The fact that this country thinks that they're actually serious and it's not a sketch, that's funny. But of course, such a ridiculous situation is how Sonny and Tawny reconnect by the end of the episode, which is pretty genuine. Like, it's funny to think about the relation to comedy in different countries versus your country, and like how Dinka doesn't really get the humor that Americans like. I don't even know how this episode ends on such a weird note, but it's funny. Like, this was a good one to get us started, but I don't think it was the best one of the season.
So yeah, those are the 2000s shows that predicted the technology we use today. Isn't it so jarring to watch how they addressed this old technology, and like little did we know how big it became in our society and really runs our lives to this day. Is there anything I'm forgetting? Any fun episode of a show that I hadn't yet mentioned? Please comment below and let me know what you guys think. So until next time, everybody, this is Johnny 2000s, focusing on 2000s movies, TV, and so much more. Have a great day.